just as it were, back if you've read the Fairy Tail Rave Master crossover, though that is not canon to the Heroes universe and storyline. Continuing that whole setup, you know how here's Haru and Natsu, they get along, but as soon as something starts to spark up that might lead to conflict was very quick to follow suit. So as it was, the three of them, these three main characters all banded together now to fight Genesis before he, goes about his villain ways to pretty much remold the world into what exactly he wants in this, crossover heroes world. I don't have a name for it. I mean, like, we got a bunch of different planet names and Eden Zero, but I don't know, it's be called Earthland and Fairy Tail, even though it's, it used to just be the continent, then became Ishgar, and then, Earthland, a lot of people call it as the, as the world, but regardless of which, there's no name for this heroes, like, conjoined world, so I'm just calling it the heroes world for now, anyway. But the first person that Genesis goes to kill is Haru. Haru, has the holy stones that have the power to destroy Darkbring, the thing that's giving the guy his powers, but, right when he's like got him by the throat, here comes Natsu and Shiki, who are coming from both sides to land an attack, and Genesis just gets out of the way. It was pretty easy for him. It looks like the dude can straight teleport, giving himself powers whenever he sees fit, the power of Oasis. And Natsu and Shiki end up punching each other, and that very quickly leads to conflict, and then they just immediately start brawling with each other. They're scrapping. Unfortunately, like, Shiki has a much nicer personality. He's much more friendly to people that he doesn't know. Like, Natsu's, he really likes his buds, but he's 100% fine with fighting friends. And so somebody he just met that he's not really close to, he's going to be very, very much game to throw hands with. So here with Shiki and his more of, he doesn't really like to fight friends personality. He's dealing with this guy who's 100% fine with it, so he's gonna follow back with also just trying to getting rowdy. Haru trying to intervene, gets punched himself, and then they all just kind of get like a three-way brawl and start fighting, where Genesis just lifts his hands and creates the Altairis, which is the name, cool enough, of what was the spell that Sieg Hart used in Rave Master, but that one is more of like this mind fuckery spell that shows you a bunch of like horrifying things. And then Jalal's Altairis was like this big, huge, like heavy energy attack that looked like a bunch of like crescent moons and deep space like all like pulled together, and it would pull like shadows towards it. It was really cool. We haven't seen anything yet from Justice, though I imagine something like one. We gotta get Grand Chariot, as one of his attacks, whatever his ether gear is. And we gotta get Altairis. It's fallen up. It needs to complete, the journey, making its way into Eden Zero. But I really like this creepy tower. It is this big like mound of like rock and building, like merged into one like weird construct. This like twisted domain. It looks, it reminds me of what's the guy's name in there's a boss in Warcraft. It's not in Zot. I think it's oh my god, Il'gynoth. No, is that the place? I have to look this up in Millis. Il'gynoth. I have to look this up. It'll bother me if I don't. But yeah, so it's got all these creepy eyes and these like big spooky like kind of like spikes coming off of it, and he just decides to sit now at the top and just keep his own like space as he gets ready to pretty much end the world. He's decided that he is going to lead the world into like a reshaping. He wants it to now go towards his will, and part of that is just seemingly at first like just causing chaos. Like he only spares Haru, Natsu, and Shiki because he wants to have more fun testing out his powers. I don't blame him. It's gonna be the end of him. If he just killed them here, obviously, no one's really gonna be able to stop him. But it's because of that he's now gonna be in a dire situation, because the characters are going to end up overtaking him. I'm guessing the next time they fight, they're gonna be much more serious, because even though they fought, and they got washed, they didn't use like all their cool like boost modes. Natsu didn't use any of his power forms. Didn't even use Lightning Flame Dragon mode. He has Dragon Force. Obviously, Flyer Dragon King mode. Shiki has his full body Ether gear, which doesn't have a name yet for it. But and Haru didn't use Revolt. So they still got, they got a chance if they come back, and they get serious, drop all their cool, like big real moves to be able to contend with him and be able to throw down. So at least there's that. At least there's that aspect of it. They're like, oh yeah, if they're able to make it back up to him, they could fight him, with a logical way of like, well, how do they win this time? This time they, went all out. But the three of them, don't agree on anything. Shiki just he wants to save Homura because he thought Oasis was a place. So obviously Homura said she was going to Oasis to train. He's worried about her. Natsu's mad because, he's not going to let Genesis make it fools out of Fairy Tail, where Haru is still like, I have to destroy this Darkbring, it's the job of the Wraith Master. But the three of them are not getting along, so they split up. They go their separate ways. And it's funny how the three of them spread out in this chapter, but every other like major group really kind of gets together. Rebecca and Lucy are together, and they end up meeting up with Ellie, who's not very intelligent, but she's a little bit of a naive but happy girl. I like how she's like, have you guys seen Haru? And they're like, we don't know who that is. Why do we know somebody that that we don't know, and we don't know who you are? But they're just kind of talking. They're explaining who they're looking for. Haru's got silver, he's got spiky silver hair, and they say Natsu's hair is, like Lucy says, spiky pink. His hair isn't pink. It's like a rosy color. I mean, you can kind of go like a darker pink, but I always get salty because of like comments like that in the anime that, like, you always see cosplayers and they have like bright pink hair, and it's like, dude, have you ever seen a manga cover? It's not that bright. Calm down. Get a more accurate color. Anyway, and then you have Rebecca obviously looking for Shiki, and he's got black hair, and oh my god, poor Ellie. She's like, oh, you're looking for Musica then? He's like, no, I would know. I don't know who that is. Why do you keep saying people that I don't know? And then Musica and Gray meet up, and then right after that, they are, all in that room. They're still kind of like in this little voided, like, created room of all these, like, warped buildings and land masses. They meet Wise. And it's funny because in the Wraith Master Fairy Tail crossover, it was mostly like Natsu. You got Natsu and Haru meet. You had Lucy and Ellie meet. But you didn't have like something like Musica and Gray. They met in the anime adaptation of it because they added a bunch of extra stuff to the anime version. But this is the only time in the manga they've ever actually met, even in that one shot. But now they've met Wise, and then you get over with Erza having met up with Julia, and shortly after, here's Homura. They meet up, and Erza's happy that she has a sword. Impressed with her sword skills. And yeah, this funny moment where Julia asks them, why they're both wearing swimsuits. She's meeting people wearing swimsuits all day, but Earth is just logic. She's like, we're on a tropical island. Why wouldn't we? And Homura not being good with heat, but also she says she'd probably rather just walk around naked. We know she's got a little bit of she can have a little bit of a dirty mind, and she likes to say stuff out loud by accident, not her fault. And then Julia's just like, I don't know, maybe I might join you. There's just some fun little character interactions between them. I don't know if I would consider the other group to really be that kind of same trio. I mean, you had the main characters meet up, and then they divided. You had the kind of like rival characters group up. You had the female leads group up. You had that kind of cool, the cooler girl of the group kind of group up. But then you have like Pino, who's the mascot, and you have Wendy and Carly, who are the lolies, and then Let, who's closer to, he's more like Gajil. He's like Gajil's equivalent, and yet he's over here like hanging out with them, and he's like steering a little bit closer behind them. And Wendy asks him, and Let's nervous because not Lucy, Wendy is a dragon slayer, and he's like, and he, a member of the dragon race, is just like, I don't really know if I should be around her. What should I be doing? One thing I really did like, not only this really cool like weird eyeball monster fortress castle, I liked Genesis's throne too. Like if you look at like a lot of the thrones throughout Fairy Tail, I mean, you look at like you look at something like Margears, here's what it's or Eden Zero, any of Mishima's thrones, or obviously I like the weird super tall one in Eden Zero for Xiao Mei, but I don't know, something about Genesis I think is just really neat. has this weird like uneven jagged trade like shape to it, and then it's got like all these weird like codic etchings in it with all these like weird ball gems. I just think it's like a simplistic, neat design. I really like it. It has this again like warped, like almost nightmarish like look to it. That's the same like with his tower, because it's not like, oh well, here's Margear demon. He has like a demonic one. You have and you had Xiaomain, her like weird space one. He had this weird mix up of all three things. He's, you know, this guy who's like magic with a dark brain and a space like suit sitting on like a throne of all three things kind of all meshed together. I like that aspect though. I thought that was neat. And now he's using Oasis to create problems further out, not just on True Island, but you see like the Fairy Tale Guild, which it has to be thousands of miles away. We don't know where it is, but it's definitely at a distance. The skies are like washing over with this black like mist, like weird coating, and all these, you know, all the weird like blob creatures are just coming out and attacking people. The Fairy Tale Guild's all revved up to it. Fight. You gotta see Laxus in it, and then, you know, just some off-town unnamed. You see Shuda and Belnika and Ruby. Belnika was nice, but seeing Shuda was awesome. And Shuda's a badass. Like Gadgetal was in this chapter, Laxus was in the chapter, Shuda was in the chapter. If only like, Gildart just got like a panel just to be in it, just to have that much badass characters all in there. And then the chapter ends off with you have Musica talking to Gray. It's like, oh, you know, you manipulate ice. Gray's like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, you manipulate silver. And then Wise is, they're like asking what he does, and he's over there tinkering on the machine because, you know, with his ether gray, he manipulates machinery, and he ends up making this weird item, and he's, you know, he's saying it's their secret weapon, calling it Heroes. So the name of the series of this whole like spin-off universe, and here's Wise with the weapon. I'm wondering what exactly it does. Is it going to give them like all like Natsuharu and Shiki like power-up boosts in order to fight to fight him? Is it going to give everybody kind of like the Arsenal suit, some equivalent like that? Or is it maybe going to be a portal to fight, or maybe like a way to locate other heroic characters, like other main characters? Because we know that other ones exist in the world. We already know, like, it's been confirmed that Aki and Fuyu exist. You could get other characters like with was it, I'm trying to remember if it's Zephyr or Zephyr. I'm pretty sure it's Zephyr. You know, he's one of the one shots. Starbiter, Satsuki. Like Satsuki would be kind of weird because she's kind of like prototype Homura. I'd be okay with her showing up because, you know, it's a crossover universe, but she might be in there. Kokono might show up. Then you can get a lot of people. Silver, like the Silver who was the, you know, the original main character for, you know, the one shot for Fairy Tail before it became Natsu. A lot of interest in there. The next chapter, though, is going to be, I think the next one is called Session. So maybe it'll be like Session, like gathering up a bunch of main characters, or just gathering the characters all together. Maybe they can finally come, you know, in a group, because this is chapter 6. It's going to end in chapter 11, so you only got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 left. You only got 5 more. And I'm guessing the last chapter will be more of a fun one, more like, you know, some wrap-up character, you know, characters all interact and have fun talking to each other. So probably like 8 and 9 and maybe 10, or maybe just 9 and 10 will be the fights. So they're going to have to all group up after this. So maybe like they'll group up next chapter, and then chapter 9, they'll kind of like, you know, Natsuharu will kind of put their differences aside, fight, and then, you know, in chapter 10 they'll all finish the battle, and then by 11 they'll have gotten over, you know, their differences and become friends. Probably still have that friendly brawl, but in the end be somewhat friends. But anyway, it was a really nice setup chapter. I like seeing all the characters kind of, you know, I mean, it was like a half setup chapter, half kind of like progress chapter. I liked all the group pairings, and, you know, the cool Alta Iris castle. I thought that was really neat. And then just the ominous, what is this trinket that, why is this made called Heroes? I want to know. We got to wait, though. We got a whole nother week until another chapter. But until then, really appreciate you. Comment below. Tell me what you thought about the chapter. And thumbs up the video. Friend the like button and subscribe button. And check out my other videos. But I appreciate everyone's already subscribed. And thank you all for listening. Bye.